Hello, welcome. Today I'm going to be making a chicken dumpling soup. It's our first snowfall of the year and feeling the need for something a little warm and comforting this evening. The ingredients I'm going to use, some extra virgin olive oil, a couple of eggs for the dumpling, some chicken broth. You could use vegetable broth if you prefer. I'm going to probably use 6 to 8 cups of the chicken broth. Some mushrooms that are looking kind of sad. You wouldn't have to put them in. I normally don't put them in mine, but I am today just to use them up before they go bad. I'm going to use a little lemon juice to brighten the soup. A few onions, probably about a cup and a half. We really like onions. A few cloves of garlic. I think I'm going to use 3 or 4. Some thyme to spice the dumpling. Some salt and a little pepper. And some carrots and celery. I'm going to make my dumplings gluten-free, so I'm going to use an all-purpose gluten-free flour, probably about a cup. About a teaspoon of the baking powder to help the dumplings rise a little bit. And then I have 3 huge chicken thighs that I'm going to use. I'll prep my ingredients and be back soon. Alright, so I've sliced, diced, minced, prepped all my ingredients, and now I'm going to start to put it all together. I'm going to turn my heat probably medium high-ish, and drizzle some olive oil in my soup pot, and I'm going to add in my onions, and my carrots, and my celery, probably about a cup of carrots, about a cup and a half or so of celery, and probably about a cup and a half an onion. I know that's a lot of onion for some people. You could definitely either leave the onion out or go a lot lower with the onion. So I'm just going to let these vegetables saute a bit. I like to give my vegetables a little bit of a head start and even a little bit of a browning. I think it adds to the flavor. I'll be back in a little bit to add some more ingredients. Okay, so my onions have started to brown. They're nice and translucent. I'm gonna add in my garlic to let that saute a bit. Then I'm going to add in my mushrooms. Again, if you don't like mushrooms, just leave them out. Or if you don't like yours well cooked, you could wait until the chicken is cooked and add them in a little bit later. And speaking of the chicken thighs, I'm going to add them to the pot. These I would recommend boneless, skinless. You can also use chicken breast, store-bought chicken that's been rotisserie, shredded up. Mine actually still have the bone in them, but I will debone them and shred up the meat a little bit later in the process. But it would be much easier. It's just what I had for today. But you don't want to leave a bone in your soup. And then I'm going to add my chicken broth. And just a little bit more. And bring that up to a boil. And I would say I'm going to try about 30-40 minutes at a rolling boil. And then in the meantime, I'm going to prep my ingredients for the dumplings, and I'll show you how I put those together next. Okay, so I'm ready to start my dumplings. I have cracked open my 2 eggs, and I'm just going to whisk it around until it looks kind of like a scrambled egg mixture. And then I'm going to pour it in my bowl here to mix with the dry ingredients. I have about, maybe a little bit less, or about a cup of all-purpose, this is gluten-free, but you could use regular flour, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and a little sprinkle of pepper. You can put more if your family likes pepper. We're not huge pepper fans. And this is about a teaspoon of salt. It might be a little too salty for some. You gotta experiment a little bit, but about a teaspoon. And about a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half of dried thyme. And then I just start kind of folding that in with the all-purpose flour. And what I do, I have gluten-free flour on hand right now in case I wanted it thicker, but I think this is going to be about the right consistency. If your mixture looks a little too soupy, you're probably going to add a little bit flour so it looks like a dough batter that sticks to your utensil. And what I'll do is, after I'm done mixing this in real well and the soup is pretty much done, within about the last 5-10 minutes, I will drop these little blobs, for lack of a better word, into the soup pot, cover it up, and let the dumplings steam. Once the soup is to that point, I will let you know and be back to show you how I do it and kind of what it looks like. See you later. Okay, I just removed my chicken from the soup that has been cooking 30 to 40 minutes on the stovetop, and I shredded it, and now I'm just going to add it back in. I'm going to put my splash or 2 of lemon juice in, hopefully brighten the flavors a little bit. And I'm getting ready to put my dumplings in. So I have my mixture I put in the refrigerator for a little bit. If you're making them right away, you don't have to put them back in the refrigerator. And I have it on a fork, and I just took a spoon and kind of put a dollop in there and keep repeating until the mixture is gone. And you can make your dumplings any size you'd like. They will puff up, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. What I'm going to do is do the remainder of the dumplings in the pot, cover the pot, and make sure I come back up to a rolling boil. And probably within 5 to 10 minutes, you'll see the dumplings grow, and then I'll show you what it looks like. I'm back to show you the finished dumplings. Hopefully you can see that they have puffed up quite a bit. I'm going to turn my soup off. It's really boiling hard. And I'm going to put it in a bowl for you and then cut open one of the dumplings just so you get an idea of what they look like when they're done. If you don't want to do dumplings, You could certainly skip the dumpling part and add in some egg noodles or other small pasta noodle to make more of a chicken noodle soup. So here's what the steamy soup looks like, and I'll just cut one open in a second and show you what it looks like. All right, here we go. I'm just gonna cut it open with a fork and knife, and you can see, hopefully you can see the pores, kind of like when you have bread, when it puffs up, the little holes in it. You can see it's not real doughy like the original mixture. You can cut up your dumplings or cut them as you go. I hope you give this recipe a try and give yourself some warm soup on a cold winter day. Bye.